Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Farms and Frontlines. I'm your host, Max Terzano, and I'm joined, as always, by Jessica Rudo.
Hello.
Today, believe it or not, we're actually going to get started on probably the longest series we've done yet, and it's all about the Banana Wars. And the
Yeah.
reason it's a bit longer is because the Banana Wars, as you'll learn, begins in the late 1800s,
Yep.
and it really doesn't stop until I would say like what was it 2017? The trials are still going on for some of this stuff tied to this.
I think, yeah, you can tie some of the ramifications of the banana wars to present day for sure.
Right. And if you've listened to every single one of our episodes, you've heard us mention the Banana Wars quite frequently. Um, I mean, the Banana Wars really encompass like what we want to talk about as a podcast, like the farms and the front lines, all of it.
Yep.
Like this is kind of like there's
The
almost no
bread and
better
butter.
example. Yeah, yeah, the bread and the butter and the guns and the knives and all of that stuff. So, the bombs and the railroads and the boats and it's and the bananas. So
And the bananas.
there's another bumper sticker. It's really the boats and the bananas of it all. Uh, yeah, we've talked about it a lot, and I just want to take before we dive into it, I want to take a quick second and Jess, I share with you every time we get a new country that listens to our podcast, and we're up to about 25 now.
Yeah.
And so we've got the last bunch were a bit wild. What was it that I said? It was like
Oh,
Venezuela,
Oman.
Oman, and so we get some
Malaysia?
super, yeah, Malaysia and
Malaysia,
Malaysia. That was
yeah.
it. I keep wanting to say Madagascar, and I'm like, I know
I
that's not
think
right. So
the one before that was Russia. I think it said specifically Moscow.
yep, we had Russia, and then we got an email that said we're like the 251st in history podcast in the United Arab Emirates. I'm
In
like, well,
UAE.
boy, we made it. Hot dog. So, if you're listening in any foreign country or the US, thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. Um, really stoked to break that 251 mark. Um, that's just a fun fact. Whenever we get a new country that listens, it's always pretty cool,
Yeah.
exhilarating to see where folks are listening from. So thank you. And now we're going to continue into this episode, which is just going to be kind of an overview of the Banana Wars before we dive in. And we're
Yep.
going to try and get really in depth with all the countries and treaties and all this kind of stuff. But today we're going to just talk about what were the Banana Wars? Why do they matter? So, Jess, do you want to just dive in? What do you want to
Sure.
cover first?
Yeah, so we're kind of going to set the baseline, make sure we're all talking the same language.
Hmm.
And the banana wars were not just about bananas. Really, they're a series of U.S. military interventions in Latin
Hmm.
America and the Caribbean. And the time frame that the banana wars cover, like officially,
Hmm.
is 1898 to 1934. But again, like we said, you can kind of see those unintended consequences of the banana wars until today, and we'll talk about those as we go through our series.
Hmm.
The reason for the banana wars, it's primarily to protect American economic interests, especially food export items, and that's why it's called banana wars because bananas is like the huge export,
Hmm.
and to maintain political stability favorable to U.S. influence.
We've heard a little bit about someone who's responsible for that.
Yeah, we'll talk about them again today.
Oh, okay, cool.
When we're looking at this, our next couple of podcasts, what we're trying to answer, like our research question, like how did farm systems like export agriculture, labor regimes, and corporate logistics and frontline systems such as gunboats, marines, treaties, fiscal receiverships mutually reinforce one another in the making of U.S. power in the Caribbean basin? So when we're going through stuff, that's kind of what we're looking to answer.
I think this is really cool because like I'm a big history buff. I know you also hate history, so this isn't stuff you typically learn about just like in school, right? Like I
Yeah,
don't recall learning about the Caribbean basin really at all.
yeah,
So I think it's a very important part of U.S. history that kind of gets glossed over because it's not glamorous. And I was thinking the other day about how we joke about hindsight being 50-50,
yeah,
but it's
yeah,
like history is written by the victor, right? But you like
yeah.
always hear like what we try to focus on is both sides and like what did the indigenous people think about this, or
Hmm.
what was the other side of like the U.S. victory or the CIA
Yeah.
victory in toppling said regime or something like that. So
Yeah.
it besides being, just a joke, there is actual some sense to it.
I mean, yes, and so the first one that we'll look at will be Cuba because it kind of kicks off this time frame, 1898. And I would just I think the parallels of what we see today you can make with what we're going to talk about. And it's just,
Mhm.
I don't know, it's like I wish more people knew more history.
Right.
Maybe
So,
maybe how we act currently would be a little different, or maybe not. I don't know.
well, maybe how we would see what's going on, like
Yeah, yeah,
they say history repeats itself, but it's sometimes upsetting how true that is.
yeah. I know.
So if you're listening to this,
Anyway.
go ahead and send it to 10 friends. You
If you happen to be a U.S. policymaker,
Yeah. Reach out.
we will talk to you and tell you about this.
We'll enlighten you a little bit.
So, the major regions we're going to cover: Cuba, Panama, Nicaragua, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Honduras. And then later we'll go into Guatemala because that's
Mhm.
technically outside of this time frame.
Right.
Guatemala is going to be 50s, 40s and 50s. And the the banana wars officially end in 34 when President Roosevelt, Franklin D type, introduces the good neighbor policy. And that's going to change how the US interacts with Latin America.
Mhm.
So, why are they called banana wars? So, the name comes from the involvement with US fruit companies. And you're going to hear this name a lot. And if you've listened to previously, you've heard it before. It's the United Fruit Company.
Mhm.
And we'll go into the history of that company later. But just in general, right? It's a US company. It's huge. And it controls huge banana plantations and infrastructure in Central America and the Caribbean.
Is
Um,
is the picture that we have that we'll post when this goes live too? Probably from the United Fruit Company plantation, I would assume.
this is, yep, I think it's Honduras. I think it's Honduras. Yeah.
We have a lot of really great like photos and cited documents and stuff like that that we're going to
Mhm.
post on our newsletter. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later too.
Yeah. Bananas are first imported to the United States. They go to New Orleans, New York, and Philadelphia. Those are the first three to get bananas.
Mm,
They had never been seen before the 1800s, and they were super expensive. A lot of Americans are introduced to bananas. Not a lot. I don't know how to say that better. There's a better audience, a larger audience introduced to bananas in 1876 when they sell them for 10 cents a piece, which I guess was considered a deal, but it's still super expensive for a banana at
right,
that
right, right,
time.
right.
And that's in Philadelphia. That was like the most like economical way to get a banana, which is nuts.
Travel
Otherwise, it
to
was seen as
Philadelphia.
this exotic fruit that only like super rich people could eat. So, banana popularity is affected by shipping. When shipping cars, refrigerated shipping is invented, it gets bananas to the US, you know,
That makes sense. Yeah.
fresher, yeah, and
Hmm.
better condition to sell them.
Gosh, can you even
Um,
imagine? Like by the time people were getting bananas, they must have been like right at the edge of being good.
think about how people got meat
Oh,
before refrigerated
just
cars.
salted, right?
Yeah,
Ugh. Mm,
yeah. So
no,
when like refrigerated cars came, like yeah, like
literally changed everything.
yeah, how the world ate, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, like Argentina and beef. Like anyway.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Um, and then steamships reduce
Hmm.
transport time from Central America, and then they could just stay fresh longer. But the cost really goes down when the United Fruit Company, it's founded in 1899, vertically integrates production, shipping, and distribution. And if we want to go more into that, the guy that does that, his name is Minor C. Keith.
We definitely want
Very,
to go more into that.
very wave tops of that is
Hmm.
he was building a railroad, and to like make up some of the lost revenue, he started planting bananas along the rail line. And
Huh.
then eventually it was like you can just pick it and throw it in the rail, rail car.
Dang.
Boom.
Wow.
Anyway, that's like the very wave top.
Right. Yeah.
So then bananas are marketed heavily So guess where I'm going with this? Do American families as healthy and that each person in the house should eat 1.5 bananas a day?
Hmm. One and a half.
Yeah, so I don't know. And then by the 1920s, bananas became one of the most consumed fruits in the country. So going from
That's
like
quick.
1876, you got a super sweet deal on a super expensive banana at 10 cents, which is again very expensive in
Yeah.
1876. To like 1920s, it's the most consumed fruit in a household.
Yeah, that's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, thinking about it too, like I like vividly in my head can see like the Trader Joe's sign, like bananas, 15 cents.
Yeah.
So like imagine 150 years ago, like
Yeah.
10 cents for a banana. I'm like,
Yeah, I
well, I
know.
did just work all month for this, but that looks good.
Yeah. I know. Seriously. This cost me 18 hours of my life.
Right? Like, but I say it's delicious. I'm not
Now,
right
how
home
do
with
I
my
eat
penny
it?
farthing.
What do I do with this thing? How do I
Right?
eat it?
That's crazy though, that it became so
Yeah.
popular within, like 50 years. Like,
Yeah.
and I
Um,
mean, like it makes you think too, because like America's huge. So the like transportation and like
mhm,
infrastructure in America, you think about how that was growing too, and how like we
mhm.
talked about railroads and stuff, where that was
Yeah.
like the big thing. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to think about.
And I won't right now, but I could see like the parallels of like the avocado and how the
I was gonna
avocado
bring that up, yeah.
boomed in
And,
popularity and what that meant and how
and
that
how it was
affected.
originally for wealthy people too.
Yeah, exactly. You eat it with steak. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then how that affects where avocados are grown. So we'll see the same thing with these. So like where bananas are grown, they're going to be called banana republics.
Hmm.
Right. And it's going to reshape where bananas are grown and who's involved in that. So it doesn't
Hmm.
just affect American diets, right? It affects US foreign policy, it affects Central American politics. And again, the big player in all that is United Fruit Company.
But Jess, there's no way that like avocados, bad meaning actors get involved.
I know.
It
It's
just
just a
can't
banana.
happen. Just like the avocado, there's no way there's anything negative that happens with bananas.
I know. But you have to think about like what they had, what they held. So they have huge plantations, which means a foreign entity is owning huge swaths of land in
Hmm.
another country, right?
Right.
Huge plantations in Guatemala, in Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama.
Hmm.
And along with that, they're building the infrastructure. They're building the railroads, the
Right.
ports, the steamship fleets. They're building local infrastructure. So they're building the roads that the locals are moving
Hmm.
on.
Hmm.
They are investing in those foreign economies, those foreign infrastructures, but they own it.
Right.
So like whether the foreign country is fully aware of how much that foreign company owns, it was happening, you know?
Right. And I mean, I can only imagine, like, just from what I know, that these companies were like, you're so ungrateful. We're building all of these roads and railroads and really building up your economy. It's like, sure, we own 90% of your country at this point, but
Yeah.
you should be thanking us.
Well, I mean, they don't even need to say anything. Like the country needs it, right? It needs that infrastructure.
Hmm.
It needs like the modernization or even a way to like bring it together. Like there's so much history when like roads can connect to like central cities and then the ability to move an army through the country is huge.
Because I mean, railroads, as effective as they are at moving
Yeah.
bananas, can also move troops just as expeditiously.
Yeah. And then I mean that's just one thing, right? But it's a huge part of like if I need to move my troops out, how do I get them there quick? And that's roads and railroads are big for that. So like if a foreign entity is going to do that and it's got the capital to do that, Central American countries did not say like, no, thank you for the most part.
Right. 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 Right.
And then again, if you want to make a parallel to today, look at what China's doing and how they're doing it. What infrastructure are they putting in? What do they own? What are they leasing? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess
You
that's
see it
kind of crazy
again.
to think about because like they're doing that like we've talked about here in the United States. And it's not like they're going into a country that
Mhm.
had no infrastructure.
That's right.
Like
Hmm.
we're the United States. I like to think of us as a pretty well developed. But
Yeah.
like states like, Cuba and Guatemala and all that kind of stuff, they didn't really
Yep.
have that infrastructure to start.
That's right. And it was welcomed,
Yeah,
so they
I
didn't
mean,
need to say anything. There was,
it's certainly you can see how it would be welcome. It's like, wow, they're building roads and railroads, and like this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is really going to help us.
Yeah. And the countries aren't that old at this point.
Yeah,
Independence is maybe 50 years off for some of these countries, maybe less.
right.
So this is, again, a welcomed investment.
Yeah, I mean, like when we talked about Haiti, I
Yeah.
mean, like the U.S. like Congress was debating whether or not to help with their their liberty and their freedom and all that kind of stuff. So it's like these are new, quote unquote, new countries.
Right, right. So where these bananas are grown, these economies evolve so much around bananas, they're known as banana republics. The term is coming from a author named O. Henry.
I've heard of O. Henry before.
Oh, have you?
I can't tell you what his first name is, but I've heard of O. Henry.
I Googled and it was like, oh, Henry. I'm like, all right, I'm done. That's
Okay,
enough.
great. Oh, Henry.
His 1904 book, Cabbages and Kings. And in that
Originally, what I was
book,
going to call this podcast.
thought it was beans and business.
Ah, that was it. Sorry.
The book, he refers to a small, politically unstable country that was dependent on a single export economy. And that is also a big point, a single export economy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, with politics heavily influenced or controlled by foreign corporations. That single point of there's a whole theories on export economies around one single thing and
Yeah.
how it brings everything down versus
Hmm.
leveling it up. And that means
Right.
oil, gas, bananas, right?
Hmm.
So because everything is focusing on that one thing and making that like able to get out and the infrastructure around that and everything there, but everything else is ignored. So everything else goes down. So
Right. Yeah.
as a whole, the country gets worse
Right.
when there's a single export economy.
Do you think some of these like foreign corporations read this book and were like, "Hey, we could do that.
They're like, wow, this is a great idea.
Hey, this is a great thanks, O. Henry." Like they've got like Cabbages and Kings framed in their offices. Like this
Yeah.
is what we're
They're
doing.
like, wait, what did O. Henry think when he did this? All right, let's do
Yeah,
it.
it seemed to work out. We didn't finish reading the book to see what happened, but
See the end of it, yeah.
yeah,
In practice, right, with the book fictional, he makes this up, and then
right.
in practice, it meant like corporate backed coups, favorable land deals for U.S. companies, weak labor protections, and then heavy foreign economic leverages.
Like we saw for when we talked about Edward Bernays and like um the favorable land deals worked out for the United Fruit Company for a while because they were just straight up lying about their taxes. And
Yeah,
then
that's
it did
yeah,
not play off too well for them, but
that's
to
Guatemala. Yep.
start, it really did help get they were able to acquire the majority of the country.
Yeah. And Edward Bernays is not the one that said like, hey, you should cheat on your taxes.
Yeah, no, no, no.
That
He
was
came in after
all,
that.
yeah, yeah. That was all United Fruit Company doing
Hmm. Yeah.
that.
If honestly, if he was involved before that, we'd probably be looking at it and be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Cabbages and Kings. They're short stories, right? Interlinked short stories inspired by
Hmm.
his time as a fugitive in Honduras in 1890s.
Well, that sounds like he's a lot more interesting than I
Fictional.
originally thought.
Yeah, it's fictional, the story, but it's based off him being a fugitive in Honduras.
Hmm. Man,
Anyway.
authors back in like the early 1900s really had like crazy stories.
Oh, he fled to Honduras to avoid arrest for embezzlement in Texas.
Oh, Henry.
He says his experience in this steamy, dysfunctional environment inspired the book's setting. He's coming out of Texas. He didn't know what like humidity was.
To escape embezzlement. That's crazy. All right.
Anyway, all right. So,
Yeah, we have, corporate backed coups, favorable land deals for U.S. companies, weak labor protections, and heavy foreign economic leverage.
yep.
These all seem to favor companies like the United Fruit Company and
Hmm.
their brethren. How does the U.S. military get involved? What would I imagine something has to go wrong for them for the
Yeah.
U.S. military to get involved?
Yep. So when local governments resisted corporate interests or political instability threatened trade, the United States often intervened. This will later be called gunboat diplomacy. But for right now, military involvement. So again, between this period, 1898 and 1934, US, it was usually the Marines. would intervene repeatedly
Hmm.
in Central America and the Caribbean to protect American business interests, stabilize governments favorable to U.S. trade, and then prevent European intervention under the Monroe Doctrine.
Right. Yep. That makes sense.
Again, we've heard that term recently
Hmm.
in today's environment. But
Yep.
so, and then, as we said, the coup in Guatemala is going to be after this banana war timeframe. But it's the perfect example of like what was going on.
Right. Like lasting repercussions.
Yeah. So why was this such a big deal? Like, why were bananas such a big deal that the Marines had to get involved? Um, like I said, the bananas became the bananas. The banana
The banana.
became one of the most consumed fruits in America in the 1920s. So a lot of money behind bananas.
Right.
And then again, the more that people ate bananas, the more that these fruit companies acquired land, the more that they built this infrastructure, primarily for export, right? It's not really made for local development, but
Yeah.
it's
Supply and
happening.
demand.
And then economic dependency on US markets. So again, the importance of like this one export economy is just going to like set them up for failure, these
Hmm.
Central American countries. The fruit was cheap and convenient for Americans in the 1920s, but the production was tied to unequal land ownership, labor exploitation, and long-term political instability. And that's going to be true for wherever you're going to see banana plantations owned by United Fruit Company.
And like this is, early 1900s, 1920s, etc.
Hmm.
Your average American consumer wasn't thinking like, where's this coming from? How's it getting to me? What's
Can
the
I,
what's the process?
do you think in 2026 is the average American consumer thinking like, where does this come from?
Good point.
I mean, I think,
I
okay,
think the only difference now is that we can like go online and like Google where does my
sure,
banana come from
for
versus
sure,
then
yeah.
it's just like this is delicious.
So when I was teaching history at West Point, I had
Hmm.
it, I talked about the Columbian Exchange in a way where I made my cadets plant some of the plants, so some of the things that were associated with the Columbian Exchange.
Okay.
And one of them was sweet potatoes. So I had started growing like the vine, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
sweet
Yeah, yeah,
potato
yeah.
vine for the dude to stick in the soil. And one, he had never touched soil. And then two, he was like, and then now do I eat it? I'm like, like as soon as he put it in the soil, he was like, can you eat it now? I'm like, no.
It has to grow.
I was like, oh my,
Oh
wait a
dear
minute.
Lord.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, time out, time out.
So I would just not take for granted that anyone knows anything.
I mean, that's fair because like I was in charge of the Service Academy nominations when I worked for Congress. So like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would send the people to West Point, I would send
yeah.
you the cadets
Hmm.
and like they're not dumb,
They're not dumb. No,
right?
you're
Like
right.
these
They're
are
not dumb.
some of the smartest kids you
Yeah.
get coming out of high school.
And they're
And
super like motivated. No, they're not
yeah,
dumb.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's just like so it's like when you're thinking of like a student, it's not like just some like high school student who doesn't know it. It's like
right.
it's a smart kid who's just like, I
Hmm.
okay, I planted it. Can I eat it now? It's like, well,
Yeah.
no,
So it's like, ooh.
no. Yeah.
And then, the thought that like everything isn't available all year round.
Right. Hmm.
I think definitely we take advantage of that and kind of forget
Well,
that
yeah,
it has
that
to come from somewhere.
I was like I was making smoothies and like a lot over the summer and then like winter came and I was like, man, these like blueberries suck. And I'm like, oh, right. Duh.
Yeah.
It's winter. I mean, I'm like, I live right next to Maine. Like New Jersey's not far. What the heck? It's like,
Yeah. Oh, right. They're not growing.
oh, right. These are like 6 months old. Gotcha.
Yeah. These were grown on the other hemisphere.
Yeah, yeah. These are refrigerated blueberries.
How dare they?
Yeah. But yeah, it's so that's interesting. But
Yeah.
sorry, a little side tangent there. Just
But
about.
yeah. So like, but in the same kind of vein, like bananas are helping to expand American corporate influence abroad and
Hmm.
US influence abroad, right?
Yeah,
It's going to
definitely
shape,
in Central and
yeah,
South America.
going to shape early 20th century US intervention policy, like what constitutes as a good reason to go and
Yeah, and we will talk
mess
about
with.
like these amendments and
Hmm.
doctrines
Yep.
in a lot greater detail because it is extremely important to
Yep.
this whole
Yeah. Right. There's laws that are
episode.
made because of that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So in short, a simple grocery store of fruit becomes a driver of geopolitical influence, which I
Yet
just
ag-
think is
yet
so
again.
wild. So I just think it's so wild. This like benign thing,
Yeah.
like, is having huge impacts. Yeah.
I know. When we first published, I mean, one of our for the first batch of episodes we had was the avocado episodes,
Hmm.
and I got people being like, the Super Bowl's coming up, and I felt bad buying like avocados for guacamole. I was like, don't feel bad. It's just we're just telling you what's happening. Like
Yeah.
we're still
Yeah.
buying them. Like it's not like if you stop buying, the Mexican cartels are going to disappear. Like
Nope. You just
it's
hurt
just
the
the farmers
farmers.
who are
Yeah.
growing them are going to disappear
Yeah.
now. So it's if this is interesting, we're going to have a decent number of episodes where we cover the banana wars because there's so much involved here.
Hmm.
It's not just like one country or one policy or anything like that. It really takes up half a century in an entire region, Central
Yeah.
America, some South America. And it you can follow it through like the doctrines and policies that really help shape American
Hmm.
foreign intervention.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
such an important piece of our history that I think is so fascinating.
So I want to link it back because this dude is just wild. I don't know how everybody doesn't know this guy's name. I don't know how I didn't
Yeah.
know his name. But if you had a guess who was behind the rise in banana popularity, who do you think it was?
Mugatu.
Who got to? What is this, the
Probably
Center for Ants?
a plantation. I would probably, you know what? If I didn't know any better, I would have no idea. But since we just did two episodes about this maniac, I would
Hmm.
say Edward Bernays.
And you're right, it is Edward Bernays. So the reason that we eat bananas like we do, it's Edward Bernays in part.
Of
He was
course.
hired early on by the United Fruit Company, and he is the one who links bananas to health.
Of
He
course he
placed
would.
that, he is like, so I have some of those advertisements, that's Bernays.
Okay, okay.
So he is hired by the United Fruit Company, and he's the one that linked bananas to health, similar to how he linked bacon
Okay.
to being something you
Important
should
for
eat in the
breakfast,
morning.
yeah.
Yep. He is placing them, he's placing bananas in like conspicuous spots. Like maybe you see it in a hotel lobby.
Hmm.
He's setting it up so like a celebrity walks by and you've got bananas in the
Right, right,
picture.
right, right. So that's subconscious marketing. Like
Yep. He's like linking the two together.
now I don't know
And
like 1920s or 30s celebrities, but
well,
I
think
was
too, right? The roaring 20s, right? The flappers,
right, right,
everything is
right.
like glamorous and extra and like
You've got your Liberty sticks and bananas.
that's right. Yeah, Liberty Sticks, yeah. Um, and he's putting like news stories out, like he plans news stories like doctors are recommending bananas. And he's just like managing the company's public image. So
Right.
the advertisements that I put in here, it's like when to eat a banana,
Hmm.
this is when you eat it, not when it's green.
If you
People
want
didn't
to,
know.
yeah, no, I mean that's perfectly fair. Like,
Hmm.
I think you mentioned in the first avocado episode, people were like, "This sucks," and they were like trying to bite through the skin.
Yeah.
It's like, nope,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't do
Yeah.
that. You know,
No, 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 no,
yeah, stop it,
no.
stop it. Don't swallow the pit either. Doctors do not recommend that. But again, if you want to see these ads that we're talking about, follow or sign up for our newsletter.
Yep.
We send them out whenever we have a new episode and with the recap of the episode, some notes. If we have a guest, there's bios on the guest, but
Hmm.
also with a lot of, well, now there will be a lot of photos for these because they're super interesting. So
Yeah.
you can sign up for that at farmsandfrontlines.substack.com.
There you go. So that's kind of the overview. That's kind of like getting us on the baseline of what we're talking about banana wars and what do we mean and why is it bananas? And then yeah, next we'll dive into more specifics.
Yeah, I mean, like I've mentioned, I've beat it to death already, but it's incredibly fascinating part of our history that we really don't know a lot about, but it really has helped shape just so much in terms of our foreign policy,
I mean,
and just
we'll
the way
link
we
it
eat things.
to like the immigration crisis. Like
Yeah,
it's linked to this. Like we
which makes
can't
a lot of
skip through that.
sense because, like, if you as you the time period that we talked
Hmm.
about goes through some other quite important world events that occur in this time frame,
Yeah.
like a world war. I don't know if you're familiar
Oh
with
yeah.
um, with this topic,
I
but
gotta find the article about like the trade agreements during World War One. And like basically it was like, you're gonna sell this for 5 cents. And they were like, okay. And then the US is like, I'm not buying it anymore. Once the world was done.
okay, cool.
Once the war was over,
Thanks.
like, no, I'm not buying
That's
that.
crazy.
I'll have to find that article.
Oh, so before we finish, would you care to tell one listener in particular, my mother, why margarine is yellow?
Oh, Edward Bernays. And
Yeah,
it's yellow um because to resemble butter. So that you
that was
thought,
it.
well,
Huh?
I'm eating butter. I'm eating the healthier version of butter, not chemicals.
Wow, that works so well with my I can't Bernays, it's not communism.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even know that when I made the title. So hey, all right. All right, well, that is an introduction to the Banana Wars. Jess, thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'm really excited to dive into this. That's going to be the next, honestly, couple months of our episodes are going to be covering this. We'll talk policy and how just these countries resulted in conflict and all that stuff from these independent companies. So tune in for all of those. Look forward to getting those out.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.